Hello there, welcome back to The Closet Historian. Today we're going to be taking another look at a part of my antique and vintage collection of things. Today we're getting a little bit more antique because some of these items are on the older side, are almost nearly, if not 100 years old. And then a lot of them are from the 1920s and maybe even into 1930. That's right, we're looking at celluloid hair combs today. Those of you who have watched my closet tour video have already gotten a glimpse at these, but I thought I would go into them and show them in a little bit more detail here today. It's not a huge collection compared to, like, say, shoes that I showed you last time. That took a while, but this is a little bit of a smaller selection of items. I tried to kind of stick to like one per color-ish. I tried not to get too extravagant even when I was collecting these back in the day. I had longer hair at the time when I was collecting these back in like 2014, and I haven't collected that many since I've been rocking the bob more recently. Of course, not today because it's grown out and man, do I need to trim. But mostly these combs can be worn like in a bun or in any updo. You just kind of just stick them into your hair, wherever you want them to be. I'll include a few pictures of me wearing these from outfit posts on my blog over the years in this video as well. So let's jump on in and I will show you my antique celluloid hair combs. So the earliest types of like European decorative hair combs were made of tortoiseshell, and that is what this later Edwardian period one is replicating. This is trying to look like blonde tortoiseshell, which is a very expensive and rare and unfortunately not very humane material, but this is a, I think actually horn, not celluloid one. It's hard to tell the difference. This one, where it's broken a little bit, it seems to be fibrous, like almost like a horn sort of material, but it's this transparent yellow color that's trying to replicate blonde tortoiseshell. You can't even sell tortoiseshell in the United States, I don't think, anymore, unless you can prove that it is actually antique and like from the 1860s. But this was the first comb I added to my now collection. I actually asked for this for Christmas one year, almost a decade ago, and I received it for Christmas. Here I am wearing it with some other faux flowers and then also just tucked into a bun with a 1920s outfit here. This next one I got in a set of like a lot of combs that I got on Etsy. Good place to shop for combs, on Etsy and eBay, of course. But this one I received in a set of other ones. I don't think I would buy this like on its own just because it's a little simple for me, but again, you can see how this is a faux tortoiseshell kind of finish. This one, I have no idea the date on this. It seems a little bit warped. I'm not sure if it was this shape originally, but you can totally see the effect, the tortoiseshell effect here that they were going for. This one reminds me of Spanish combs, and then from Spanish over to this sort of Greek key design, again in a faux tortoiseshell. This one and the last one are definitely celluloid, made to look like tortoiseshell here. And celluloid is an interesting material, an early plastic, and it's not very stable. If any of you have seen the film The Artist, where lots of film goes up in flames, it's because celluloid is actually extremely flammable. So they recommend that you don't store these in direct sunlight or anywhere that's hot because they will easily combust, actually, which we'll talk a little bit more about later. But here this one is being worn tucked into, again, a bun with some other flowers in my hair. That's how I used to wear these quite a lot. When I had longer hair, of course. This next one is a little bit smaller than the rest. This was sold to me as being 1940s, but I'm not sure if that's accurate or not, really. It seems just as, like, 30s as the other ones to me, if anything. So I think this one actually is probably 1930s. Again, a faux tortoiseshell celluloid, and then it has a little bit of a metal setting at the top here with these rhinestones set into it. I believe I bought this one thinking it was a little bit larger, but it's actually quite cute and pretty, and it's little petite size. Very nice to tuck into a bun as just a little bit of an accent. This next one is quite gorgeous. It feels so Art Nouveau and Edwardian to me. I'm sure that that is when this one is from, probably from anywhere from 1900 to 1920 is my guess on the date for this one. Again, a faux tortoiseshell. It has this little like nub on the back here. You can kind of see this little area. It has like almost little slots in it, and I wonder if that was for having feathers tucked into the back of this as well. Not really sure why that is there. But I love the asymmetric kind of Art Nouveau design of this, and the color is so rich. I just think this one is very, very pretty, and I loved wearing it back when I could. I still can sort of get my hair, if I curl it enough and stick enough pins in it, to look almost like an updo, even at its current length, and can wear these almost. This red one seems a little bit later to me, maybe from the 30s, just because the material, the craftsmanship doesn't seem as fine as some of the others. But again, this seems to be a red celluloid. They say that the, speaking of celluloid chemistry once again, once it has color in it or is darker in shade, that's actually more of a stable compound compared to the blonde or transparent celluloid, but we'll talk about that again more at the end of this video. But this little red one is fun, again on the smaller side. I would love to have a larger red comb. Then a small interlude to talk about some of my modern combs. These are all going to be from eBay, actually, and you can search these out quite easily. I think these were $8 for these leaf-shaped ones here. I have one gold and two silver colored ones, but they're just basically rhinestone-tastic little combs, and they're very nice for formal evening attire or evening hairdos. I will show you a couple pictures of these in my hair, but they're just, as you can see, incredibly sparkly. A nice alternative to a tiara if you don't feel like breaking out the tiara. I know you have one, don't you? But I'd like to have another gold. I think they were sold out, and so I only bought the one. That way I can wear these when I'm wearing silver or when I'm wearing gold. But, you know, I don't get dressed up for evening that often anyway, so it's not a pressing matter. Here I am at the opening of the Cartier exhibit at the Denver Art Museum, and I'm wearing these in my hair for a nice Cartier effect, even though, of course, I will never have any Cartier in my wardrobe. Then the last comb I have from eBay is this Replica Titanic comb. There's a comb like this one, only much prettier and finer in the film Titanic, and they have many knockoff versions of that comb on eBay. And while I was browsing for rhinestone combs, one day I saw this and I just thought I would pick one up. They're so inexpensive on eBay because they are just like cheap Chinese knockoffs, really. And so I think I got this for like $10, and I thought it would be very pretty tucked into an updo. I couldn't resist this little art nouveau look here, and here it is in my hair. This was actually when I went to go see the Denver Symphony, or the symphony here in Colorado, play the Harry Potter soundtrack, so that was fun. Back to antique combs, we had to zoom out a bit because these are going to be the larger ones. And here is my black comb, my solid black. There's no rhinestones or anything in this one, but the way that the celluloid is cut in this big fan-shaped comb almost sparkles in the light anyway without any rhinestones being set into it. This just feels like a piece of gothic lace that you can stick in your hair, and I am all about that, so I was very happy to have picked up a black comb when I did get this one. And it's of a nice larger size as well. This one got a lot of wear in my hair back when I could wear these more easily. But of course, I always get the most use out of black things. And the nice thing about this is, again, it is a more stable version of the celluloid, so I worry about this one deteriorating less, which is nice. And here that one is tucked into a big bun in my hair. You can see I had a lot more hair at one time, guys. This next one is a clear and black combo celluloid. I have a couple or two in this kind of combination, and I have seen many where it's like clear with a black top on it like this. But of course this one has peridot and emerald colored rhinestones in it, and we all know how I love chartreuse as a color, or if you don't, now you do. I'm a big fan, and so I had to have this one. I think this was only like $20. A lot of these, by the way, you can pick up for what I would consider quite cheap for something that's 100 years old and really pretty. You can usually find these for like $25 to like $60 maybe. And then the really nice ones or rare ones are $125, $200, can go up from there really. But this one was quite inexpensive and I just had to have it. Another one in that same style is this blue or sapphire colored rhinestone comb here, and I just think this is stunning. I think these are such beautiful objects in their own right, even if you can't wear them like I can't as much anymore. But oh, I just think they're so pretty. And like all these, the rhinestones, you know, being on this like curve like that, they just sparkle so much. Oh, love wearing these. I need to do my hair more often so I can stick these in the back. Not that I go anywhere right now, so it's not really worth getting dolled up, but ooh, it is fun. Something we should bring back for this new set of 20s, right? We're gonna need something to cheer us up. And here that blue comb is tucked into another 1940s style updo this time. I think that you can still wear these sort of things with 1940s style, even if they are from the 1920s. You know, maybe somebody borrowed their mom's comb. You know, who knows? I'm not really into direct accuracy, as we know, so I still think you can wear these with 1940s looks as well. And then lastly of my current comb collection, we'll say, is this, of my largest of combs, and again, a faux blonde tortoiseshell with emerald green rhinestones here. And this one is very large and very like Art Nouveau looking, although I do think this one is probably from the 1920s, not earlier than that, maybe even into the 30s. But just this gorgeous, like wild thing to have tucked into your hair. Just unexpected when you turn around. Although this one, you don't have to turn around for people to see it. People can see it from the front. It's so large. And these are, I think, originally inspired by the combs worn by flamenco dancers in Spain. So you'll see that the combs are still manufactured there today in Spain for that reason. They're worn by dancers over there. But I think the style was co-opted for American flappers, you know? And it's still pretty today. And here I am wearing this giant comb stuck into my hair, stuck into a bun, while wearing a 1920s sort of jungle-themed outfit at the Denver Botanic Gardens indoor conservatory area. I try and plan, especially back when I was blogging more often, I try and plan my outfits to match the surroundings or to be on theme, as it were. And then lastly, we have this peacock feather comb, which, while incredibly fabulous, although wounded, is sort of part of my collection and sort of isn't, because it doesn't live anywhere near the others, because celluloid sickness, the degradation of the celluloid of this comb can apparently spread to the others, so I keep it separately. And this I bought knowing it was already on its way out. You can see it's missing one of the ends of its tines here, and then up at the top of the feathers, where you see me pinching it to hold on here, it is turning cloudy. It's cracking. The interior of the celluloid is crackling apart, and what's happening here is that the chemical compounds that make up celluloid are actually breaking down, and there's nothing really I can do to stop this. This celluloid, the chemical itself, the plastic itself, the early plastic, is coming apart. It releases certain chemicals when it does this, certain gases, and so you cannot keep these in a confined area. I had some people suggest in my closet tour video that I frame this inside like a shadow box or something like that to preserve it, and there is just really no preserving this anymore. It will degrade, and I don't think there's anything you can do to halt that. Correct me if I'm wrong, conservators in the comments, but you can see here it's going cloudy, it's cracking apart. The celluloid will break apart, and again, it is very flammable, so you kind of have to be careful. There's a reason I don't store this in a lot of like tissue paper, because it seems like giving it kindling. I'm really not exactly sure the best way to store this. I think I'm actually going to leave it down here in my sewing room studio with me, and like kind of have it on display down here out in the open, as opposed to keeping it kind of locked away. So at least I can enjoy it as it falls apart. But I have to look up the chemical. That gets released by this, or the gas that gets released by celluloid as it breaks apart. I'll put that on screen here. But it's just not exactly the safest of objects, funny enough. And that's kind of part of the reason that they stopped making things out of celluloid, really. But this was a gorgeous comb in its time. I'm sure this is about 100 years old, from the 1920s. And so it's no wonder she's no longer really holding it together. Fair enough, babe. I bought this comb for $25. Most Peacock hair combs go for $100 more than that, at the very least. I've never seen them for that cheap before, and even though this had damage and it was already had some areas of cloudiness and degradation when I bought it anyway, sort of in the hopes that I could get a few wears out of it, obviously, and because it was very pretty. But because I was hoping that perhaps I could somehow figure out a way to get this scanned and then 3D print more of them, because things like this in this fragile celluloid are not apparently going to last forever. But if we printed them out of more modern materials or had the file, saved digitally forever, we could always print more of gorgeous objects like this one. So this is the kind of thing that I would love to have replicated someday. Again, if any of you are quadrillionaires and you would like to get in touch about helping me reproduce things like this, do let me know. Send me an email. But until then, I'm just going to have to sadly watch this beautiful peacock lady reach the end of her days here. So those are all my vintage and antique hair combs. I hope you enjoyed this little more of a detailed look at those than we got in my closet tour video from recently. And do let me know what else you would like to see here on collections management. Mostly like accessory sort of things. I try and actually stay away from showing all my clothes, just because I like to have those be more of a surprise in the lookbooks. Instead of you knowing all of my dresses, I like to have them kind of pop up in the appropriate lookbook, and be more of a reveal in that way. I guess it feels too spoilery for this channel to reveal all my clothes, but accessories I feel less so, because it's all about what you're pairing and mixing and matching when it comes to those. So let me know what other accessories from my closet you would like to see here on collections management, and I will see you all again here real soon. Bye.